Today, we are going to be looking at 2800 plus destruction. That's right, Grandmaster, Annihilation, Balkan Dad, Obliteration. It's going to be 2 games where I beat 2 different Grandmasters playing Blitz. And I think there's a lot to learn. They're very fun, very interesting games. Classy, high level, might I say. And yeah, we are back. So as many of you guys know, I'm back in Belgrade, back in Serbia. But the beginning of a trip, right? The first month is just catching up with family, friends, loved ones. And then you get into your groove and it's just chess again. I haven't been playing or enjoying chess for the last few weeks. And now I'm back to playing and enjoying. I have a lot of cool stuff planned, kind of life in America versus life in Serbia, filming, streaming. I know you've heard it all before. Why don't you just do it? It's coming. There's a lot of good chess stuff coming. So without further ado, let's get into the game. By the way, I missed you guys. I missed you. You guys are good people. So let's see. How do these games go? White is going to win both games. You know why? Because White is playing. Balkan Dad is playing White. That's why White's going to win. So we get a Grand Prix close Sicilian. Highly recommend this against specifically higher rated players because you're just going to get an equal game and all you really want is an equal game, right? You don't want to fall into any theoretical trick, theoretical trap. And which line do we play in the Grand Prix? Well, if they don't go pawn a6, we like the bishop to b5 line. This threatens to double up their pawns over here on the queen side, and we'll talk about if they take with the b pawn or the d pawn. The main line is them going knight to d4, at which point you just leave the knight b, you castle, and then you actually leave this knight b until they go a6. And the point of removing their queenside knight is to untie your queen to go over to the king side, and they can never threaten this c2 pawn. The second game, there's going to be a lot of threats on c2, and I'll show you a different fun way to deal with them. And again, if they go a6, just remember, do not go bishop to c4, go bishop to d3 so that you can meet b5 with e5 and meet them in the center over here. You're threatening to double up their pawns. This is just a little rundown of the opening techniques in the Grand Prix, that is. But in this game, he goes pawn to e6. Not a good move. Computer calls it a mistake. I know it's still theory, so sure. You take, maybe it's not theory. Maybe that's a different move order. Maybe he got move ordered. So I take and he takes with the b pawn. Why does he take with the b pawn? Well, he wants to go d5. That's why he takes with the b pawn. When they do take with the b pawn, a key square for this knight on c3 is going to go a4. You might be like, why would you put a knight on the side of the board? Well, you're going to do that because they cannot kick you out, and you're aiming at the pawn weakness. That is their doubled pawn, specifically the pawn on c5 with no defender. So knight on a4, it's going to be a great knight later on. Pawn to e5. First, you want to close out the bishop. Right, you don't want to, maybe you're going to need to go b3 defend. You don't want to lose your rook. And here, black needs to act. Black cannot allow this knight to come here. So like, if this knight comes here and threatens c5, threatens d6, black's going to have a very bad position. If he goes d6, this would be a very bad move for the fact that you go knight here and you're threatening to win this pawn. Something like pawn takes can happen, and then you take, and you see you have a very nice clamp over here. Let me show you an opening trick that can stem from this. Say, how could I set this up? Say they go knight h6, right? Check. Say like king here, a bad move, but sure. Can I set it up this way? Yes, this is what I'm trying to show you. So let's say we waste a move. Say we waste a move, you know? You could even go queen f3, waste a couple moves. What am I doing? I'm just trying to show you this mate that can arise from different move orders. You might have not even needed all that, but taking on f7, I've got that maybe 20 times. Against titled players, 20 times that is. Not in that move order, but it's an idea. I'm showing you guys ideas because it's a systems-based opening. So it's more about ideas than you must do this if they do this. If they play this move, play that move. Beep, boop, bop. Nobody plays chess for that. And if you do play chess for that, just quit the game. Just stop playing. That's the Balkan Dad that is recording today. That's how I'm feeling. But black plays pawn to d5. All right? Pawn to d5. Point of this move is there's going to be no knight e4 jumping into d6. What do? I go b3. You can go en passant, but I don't really like this move. Yes, it double isolates their pawn, but it also makes your f4 pawn weak. And last case scenario, do you want to lose your e pawn? You really want to save e5, f5 and not isolate it like so, where it's just going to be passively guarded. Or maybe if I had a light squared bishop and gone to g2, there are other ways to do that. So if you have a light squared bishop and you want to fiend Keto it, it's better to do it in that time. I go b3. Why do I go b3? Well, I know I want my knight on a4. and bishop to a3. I just want to hone in on the weakness that is c5. We get knight e7, knight a4, attacking a weakness. Queen a5 guards the weakness, and bishop a3 adds pressure to the weakness. He plays the move pawn to c4. Of course, you cannot take because you're going to lose everything under the sun. But I'm very happy if he takes. So here I played the move pawn c3. I was like, maybe I want my bishop on b4 to kick the queen out. Queen doesn't have too many good squares to go, even back on this diagonal. The queen is oddly misplaced for black. So we get bishop to a6. This is a little bit of a cheapo. I think his reasoning was he wanted me to castle and have a discovered attack like so on the rook. Okay, I don't do that. I go bishop to b4, kicking the queen out. He goes queen to b5. A bad choice. And over here, I was already seeing a tactic. What was the tactic? Well, he falls for it, so try to find it. The tactic is to remove the defender of c6 and bribe his king, try to get his king to move up, at which point this would be a king-queen fork. So he actually cannot take my bishop back, so he plays c takes b3. Now, of course, I'm already winning. Look at that. Funny enough, chess.com calls that a brilliancy because the bishop is hanging and the bishop can't get taken. So that's about the softest brilliancy I've ever seen. We get bishop takes e5, the best move. He would like me to take, and he takes with check. I'm not having it. I'm going to go knight takes c6 and fork. I was also very happy because I have the ratings off when I play. So, you know, because I tell my students when you're playing in a tournament, don't look at the number, right? If you play someone higher than you, you're going to want to draw. Like, so if you see the number, there's nothing good that can come from seeing the rating of your opponent, right? The goal is to win. It's not to have your rating go up. It's to win. So if you see the rating, of course, you're going to have thoughts like, oh, this guy's better than me. False. Oh, this guy's higher rated than me. True. But don't care about rating. So I have the ratings off. And then after the game, I saw he was 2,800 plus. I was like, wow. I was like, he didn't play like it. Queen to b5. We get pawn takes. Look at it. Do you see this? This is amazing stuff. So we lose the knight, we save the bishop. This king is just stuck. It just cannot move. f6, trying to pry open the bishop, trying to win the bishop. And knight, look at this. I love this. I love this. The point of knight c5 is, say he takes, rook takes a6. Everything defends everything. I mean, this is pretty good stuff. Do say so myself. Bishop to b5, pawn to d4, pawn takes, f takes, or that's d takes e5. By the way, for some reason, people are like, oh, cocky, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy. I chastise myself sometimes, but I'm happy with the play. And, you know, you got to give yourself a pat on the back because no one else is going to do it for you, right? Rook to d8, queen to g4. The point is attacking a weakness, trying to take the pawn and deliver checkmate. Takes my bishop. I calculated the end game is just winning here. So pawn takes, he wins 2 pieces for the rook. But I calculated that you get a queen trade, and after the queen trade, there's nothing left to say, right? You're just up in exchange. Castle's queenside. Look at that. Castle's on move 28. He guards the pawn. You just activate your pieces. This is just kind of a simple math position. You have more pieces than your opponent, so you're going to win. The funniest thing is he resigned with 0.1 seconds left. My guy, you could have resigned a lot earlier, but thank you for the game. Now, on to game number 2. We are playing. Let me load that. His name is Kintoho. He's from France. I want to say that's France. Yes, it is. All right. We get a, look at that, Grand Prix e6. I love this. But this time this guy goes d4. Optimally or objectively the better move. Now, there are a few moves you can play here. In any position where they go d4, I like the old line, right? The new line is going knight e2, but I don't like d3, even though it's not a good move. I just don't want to deal with that. So I like to go knight to b1. You might be like, you lost a tempo. Well, yes, but you also got the c4 square, which is going to be a beautiful square for your knight later on, as you will see shortly. So pawn to d3. Now, the reason you're not supposed to go bishop to b5 in these types of lines is because you're not damaging the pawn structure. Sorry. You're not damaging the pawn structure, and yeah, his bishop's going to be good. So I don't do that. I go d3, and I love parking my bishop on e2. So the main way to play this is to go g3, bishop g2. I only like to fianchetto my bishop when I can go g4, kind of like the freak attack, but you can't do that here because the knight guards it. So let me show you the purpose of this bishop on e2, right? Because remember, we talked about how you remove this knight to pry your queen away from the queen side and be able to maneuver over to the king side. But what about knight b4? Well, as you could see, knight b4 is met with bishop d1. I love this bishop on e2 because I love putting the bishop on d1. Say this, of course he's not going to do it right away, but you're going to eventually play c3, not hang that pawn, and maybe you can even go here and pry open with f5. So I can't say it enough. I really like that bishop on d1. He goes b6, I go a4, right, because it's going to be harder for them to go b5 when you get your knight on c4, knight b4, bishop d1. Also, a lot of good players don't anticipate you playing bishop d1. Like, I guess they think you're going to go queen d1, but no, you're going to go bishop d1. And then this knight is arguably just not great. Okay, knight to g4. He wants to go knight e3. I think that was a little bit of hope chess. Knight to c4. This is where you wanted to put it, and now your knight is good. His knight is not so good. His knight is not so good. You kick out his knight because it can become good, right? If he kicks you out, then he might be able to claim e3, sacrifice a pawn, but here not so much. I go knight to e5. Can we put the, yeah, knight to e5. I want to show you guys the question mark because, see, I'm okay with the computer chastising me. I play bad moves sometimes. We get knight a lot of the time, often, always maybe. Knight to d7. Here I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I take and reconnect or help him connect his rooks? I was like, that probably doesn't make too much sense, so I'm going to go queen g3. Sure. He goes f6. Now I am forced to take, but I'm not forced to take. I go back. The reason I went back is because I was like, I want to have a maneuvering game, right? I felt like his knight was very bad, and I felt like I could route my knights over to have more purpose. I just thought in the long term, my knights will be better than his. So we get pawn to b5, knight to d2. Apparently you can play f5 here. Apparently you can play f. Is it because, wow. That's crazy. I didn't see that. So that would have been amazing. But I went knight to d2 passively. c4, I was like, whoa. Whoa. You're in my space. Please get out of my space. Go back. So I took and I went rook to e1. Apparently I could have gotten away with knight takes d4. I was scared of this diagonal, but it seems like there was nothing to be scared of. Strange. So we get rook to e1, pawn to d3. I was like, oh, this is amazing. He goes check. He should have went knight to c2, take, and I would have been okay with this position. But that's what he should have done. Instead, he went check, but this just helps my king escape. Okay, it should have went to h2, it went to h1. It's okay. Knight c2, take, and that pawn is one away from promoting, but it's not going anywhere. And I'm winning a pawn. We got rook to c8 now. Bishop to e3. I was okay with losing this pawn because I was like, I just need to get this bishop out and win this pawn. Right? Sometimes something that you think is not going anywhere ends up being the bane of your existence. So I was prioritizing trying to get rid of that pawn. Apparently the best move here is king h2. I'm never in a million years playing that. So I didn't play it. I went bishop e3. We get bishop takes. It's weird because it says bishop takes e3 is the best move right now, but he does it and then it says it's wrong. So the computer is just here to laugh at us. That's what it's here for. Knight to c5, knight takes c2. Very good move by him. And here he should have taken with the knight. I was quite surprised he didn't take with the knight. He took with the bishop, and that can't be good. So the knight now routes to d4. They defend each other, and now it's clear that white is winning. And then he blunders. Why is this a blunder? Find the move. Pawn to b4, kicking the knight out. And look how complex this game is about to get. Knight takes e6, the fork. He has to move his queen because I'm threatening to win his queen. By the way, he could have gotten checkmated. If he wasn't careful, I would have checkmated him. So we got queen f6, knight takes rook, knight takes rook. Now what do? Find the best move. Do you take the knight back? No. You throw in the switch. Knight takes h7, again targeting the queen. Came up with the clever queen takes c3, and I was like, huh. Like, what does he want? He wants rook takes e1, and then, what did I calculate here? I think bishop takes f3, this. I think this is what he was going for. That's a blunder. Yeah, so take with the pawn, take, and yeah, this is not so good, right? Because you're up 2 pawns, but your structure is very, very bad. So find the move. What happened? Queen takes. Rook takes. Bishop takes, knight f6. That's the move, the switch. Because he can't take with the pawn because it's pinned. So he has to take with the queen, and then you preserve your structure. I thought that was pretty nifty. I thought that was pretty clever. Do you guys agree? Am I bragging a lot this video? I might be. But after how much bad chess I've played recently, I got these and I was like, okay, maybe I could play chess sometimes. Really, when you're not enjoying the game, just don't play. Because it just won't work out for you. But then it's like, what came first? Are you enjoying because you're winning again? But no, it's not that. It's like, your mental flow is better when you're not like chess is the worst game on planet Earth. He blunders a fork. He thought he had queen f7, but why doesn't he? Chess.com tactic, rook to e8, and he resigns because the queen can't take because it's pinned. And so the king moves, you take the rook? No, you take the queen, and anyone can beat Magnus Carlsen in this position, so he resigned. Thank you guys as always for watching. We will be back. We're going to have chess in the park videos. I'm going to start posting to Balkan Dad Chess. Again, I'm thinking about doing a life in America versus life in Serbia. It's going to be a good time. Hope you guys all had a good day, good week, good month. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.